sure I understand. Couldn't be
Yes.
somebody gets 6% and somebody gets 0.
No.
It's a 3% maximum.
Yes.
merit, Okay.
Mhm.
Now, the difference, it's a significant difference. We spent quite a bit less projected for 17 than we had budgeted for 17. And I assume that just is the obvious, we didn't have a chief for quite a while. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves.
Yes.
Well,
And Joe can go into the details. There were, besides the chief.
There's also Brian, Detective Brian Bartlett.
Retired.
Right, he retired, so the attrition in replacing him with a starting pay person.
I mean, this budget is still 14, counting the
Yes.
chief, the assistant chief.
Yes, sir. We're finally back at 14.
You're finally back to the 14 level. I don't have any issue with this budget. I asked Bonnie to provide a list to us, to give us an itemized list of all the professional and contract services. You know, so I'm not gonna sit here and ask you what it is, because I'm sure we'll get the data from Bonnie. It looks like this year we're gonna be purchasing 2 more vehicles.
Yes, sir.
Bonnie, just for, I know you have it listed, or vehicle replacement in the capital improvement thing. It would be helpful if on the side, where you're making little comments, it says 2 vehicles.
The only
Oh, yes, you're right. I'm sorry. That was
Yeah, the
totally
only
my
question
bad.
that I,
should-
that I
yes.
have on the vehicles, is it necessary, or is it just wanted?
Oh,
I
it's
don't have
necessary.
any
How old
idea.
are they? We used to get a justification attached to the budget on those 2 You've done it for
Right,
years.
right.
First year, I've not seen any justifications
But
for
it'll
any of
look,
these requirements.
it would look just like all the other ones.
What?
It would, the
Well, I
justification
know,
would look
but
just,
I'm just saying, and it's not just you, we don't have any justifications attached. We always used to get justifications by department,
Joe,
and they're
can we
not
have
in here.
miles and age of the vehicle?
well, we can come up with that. Right off the bat, I know the first vehicle that we're replacing is a 2008 Crown Victoria. It's the red one that Jared drives. The old chief used to drive it years ago. And the next is 2013 Police Interceptor SUV, the first one of the newer SUVs we got.
With the
back
white
in-
ones?
Yes, sir.
What's wrong with that one?
It's just wore out. I mean, we've got 5 patrol cars that run constantly, and it's been here, running wide open, you know, for quite some time. 10 patrol officers use those 5 vehicles. That's,
Do you have
Can
a
I-
sense of how many, what kind of mileage are we talking about?
well,
Where's it out?
we'll have to look at it. I
Can-
can't take it
Can,
out
can I
off the
make a
top of my head.
suggestion that based on my experience, we shouldn't have to go through this every year to justify it. There should be a plan that says you're gonna replace a vehicle every so many years.
And we've been working on trying to
Based-
set that plan
based on
up
what the
for past
reality
few
is.
That's been
years.
going on for years.
Right.
And I don't mean we need to do it for this particular budget, but I think that ought to be in place to say, we're gonna buy a new one every other year, or two every 2 years, or whatever, and you put your information into that plan, so that we don't have to go through a justification.
The CIP, what you received last week and today anticipates that, 2 vehicles in the police department, and similar thing for the other departments.
But on a
But-
schedule,
But you don't have the justification.
on a regular
Don't worry,
schedule.
I'm not gonna second guess you.
Right, well,
On
that's
regular
what,
schedule.
right, if the
I mean-
CIP is approved,
Yeah.
that would suffice, or that would be the reason for it.
Before I'm relatively finished with the police, but I think the council needs a discussion regarding the recommended salary increase.
Well, it's,
We haven't had a discussion.
well, but
I
the,
understand, I just wanted to get back where it says
at some
salaries.
point in time, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't think should be limited
It's
to
a general
police.
thing, we're
Right.
But I-
because
no, I agree with
what's
you.
in here is proposed is a 3%.
No, I agree with you. There
merit, which is
hasn't
doing
been a
stuff, yeah.
discussion or a decision made. I
No,
agree
no,
with
no,
you.
I'm just,
Yeah.
Bob, I
I
have the
didn't
question.
wanna-
That 3%, is that up to Susan or council?
Susan,
It's up to the
the
department
department
heads.
heads.
Let me ask a question on salaries, though, so I can understand the premise. I was assuming it was a 3% merit pool. it is not. Have we included a 3% increase to the bottom line of salaries?
Each person, each position. The
Okay.
personnel budget, which is a spreadsheet
Right.
about that big, has each person figured in for a 3%, up to a 3% increase.
So the money we don't spend due to merit inappropriateness, I guess.
Right.
And based upon what the department manager and Susan appraise,
Mhm.
then there's gonna be a savings in this. then.
Correct.
You know, you gotta be a little bit careful. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking of numbers. And I'm not saying this is gonna happen, so don't jump on me for this. An example of where you have to be careful is, let's say, the top 5 paid policemen in your department got merit pay increases, but the bottom 5 in pay
Microphone.
did not.
Microphone.
You'd wind up using up, that would wind up actually increasing our costs more than just an average 3%.
it's what-
Because there
her
are so
point
many
is-
add-ons and,
Her point is if you're using 3% on a total amount,
Yeah.
it doesn't reflect 3% per person.
Well, the way this budget is
I
devised,
understand
it
how you
does
did it.
represent
It's always
3%
been
per
done
person.
like this before.
Because it affects
Yeah.
there are a lot of other things, fringe benefits,
Oh, well, that-
pension and 401K.
The merit, let's not
that-
use the 3%. The merit increase that you've put in for all of the budgets is based upon the position, the individual in the
Correct.
position.
Correct.
Okay.
But that number can change slightly depending on how it's divvied up.
But it's never gonna be more.
It's a max.
Exactly.
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
that's right.
Yeah.
It is a max.
Yeah.
You're right. It's a
Yeah.
max.
But my question is this 3% over the raises that we gave the other department heads 2 weeks ago?
Well, we gave 3 raises to 3 department heads.
Right.
The answer is yes.
So they also get another 3%
Well,
if,
well, let's not discuss the merit raise for right now, okay?
This is over a year's time. So this is, at some point in the year, people will be the normal performance evaluations will take place. If they rise to the level of excellence, 3%.
Well,
If they're good, it's 2%.
That number,
If they're
that number
mediocre, it's-
includes, the number for the salaries includes the at maximum possible exposure per individual
Correct.
for each department.
That's not true, because some people could get, Susan, you need to listen to this. When you have a pool of a 3% pool in there, that pool, somebody could get 6%.
No,
and
she just
somebody
said
could
that.
get
No, no,
0.
no.
You're
That,
saying
that
you're
is
gonna put a-
incorrect. That is incorrect. It's
This
an
is-
up to 3%. We have
I
to
was
budget
corrected
for
on
the
that, Carol.
3% to be conservative
We've never done
in our
that before
budgeting.
either.
Any monies not spent in the salary line goes back to our general fund.
Correct.
No, okay, not spent. So let's say your pool turns out to be $50,000.
It's not a pool.
Leave the pool alone.
There is no pool.
No pool.
You're saying that not one person will get more than 3%?
We've
That's
said it
correct.
about 3 times now.
Right.
Yes,
That's
up to
really
It's a-
contrary to-
3%.
Carol, it's a 3% maximum, up to.
This is what we are recommending to
Okay.
go forward.
We have done the pool before, but that's not.
All right,
well, I think. Bob
Last
said
year, we
what
had a
was-
1% pool that we worked off of.
As Bob said, we'll discuss that later. I have no,
And,
Real
John, I
issues.
didn't ask you, you have any?
I just haven't done this before. You know, we have a line item for uniforms. Do we provide all the uniforms for all the police officers, or is this,
Yes, sir.
okay? And do we have a sort of a standard, each police officer gets a new uniform every year? Or,
It's, at this point, it's pretty much, as needed when things,
Okay.
you're not gonna put
Yeah.
Lee in shorts again, are you?
well, we get a lot of compliments on his legs.
Oh.
We do.
now, again, in years past, a lot of money for professional development has been deleted. And it's only $3,000. Just out of curiosity, what is that for? What are you planning to do with that $3,000?
Okay, you're
And I think
talking.
we should leave it in there, maybe you need more.
Traditionally, we have been afforded the training from the Justice Academy and the community colleges, which is
Right.
tuition-free.
Right,
And the local community colleges we drive to and come home every day. Justice Academy provides dorms for us to stay at, so really all we've ever paid for is food. This year, we're planning to we're wanting to spread our wings and fly a little bit and get out and get some better training from other places, and not just rely on the. Plus, a lot of our guys, the older guys, have exhausted a lot of that free training, and there's.
I'm just really honestly pointing out for people who haven't been through this process,
Right.
that is a change.
And
Because it's a number that we had taken out of more conservative budgets in years past, but a number that we probably should be including.
well, in the past, when we would discuss free training, then everybody jumped on board with that. We'll do as much free training as we can and cut there.
Is that another reason why the travel and lodging has bumped up? Because
sir.
the training, travel and
Right.
lodging associated with that?
Yes, sir.
If, John, if I could address one of your questions. I'm familiar with police budgets. I've looked at them for, in other jurisdictions, and they were substantially more complicated than this. When you talk, I've had experience where each police officer had a uniform allowance, each person had a haircut allowance, each person had a cleaning allowance, and that was all itemized in the budget. You can get down to the nitty-gritty. Here, I understand that it's really under the control of the chief as to whether that officer is not properly outfitted and he's got to get a new uniform or that type of thing, as opposed to a stipend for it per person.
That's true.
I have another question. I don't see it in here, it's probably pretty small, but, you have regular requirements for certifications for small arms training and things like that?
Yes, sir.
And for, physical fitness programs, do we have that stuff budgeted in here?
There are no physical fitness programs, but the firearms training and other training, the departments,
That's part of the training and certification line. So the training that Joe is talking about also includes the kind of certification that you're talking about, John.
and any
For
equipment.
$3,700 a year, we get our guys going to ranges on a regular basis,
We do.
shooting and
We-
doing stuff like that?
We do that free.
Well, I'm
we-
asking, I don't know. That's,
We have a $300 yearly membership with the local Brunswick County Law Enforcement Officers Association. We use that range, and.
Joe, where's that range?
It's off of Old Lennon Road, which is off of Highway 211. I'm the firearms instructor, and the cost associated with ammunition, hearing protection, eye protection, targets, all that stuff comes out of the department supplies line item.
okay.
Is
Thank you.
this, last year was the first year we had physicals required for police officers, or was that budgeted differently?
Budgeted differently, I believe. The physicals that this is speaking of is the new hire physicals. And there's more than just the physicals. That's a drug test, physical examination, and the psychological examination. And it looks like we've put in there for a few. And that's, again, we hope we don't touch that, because that means we've got more turnover.
Okay,
That's
this is an
just-
annual physical for
No,
each
sir.
officer then?
No, sir.
That's somewhere else?
Not like the fire department. no.
We don't have any such program.
Shouldn't we?
That's up to the chief.
We may see a radically different budget next year.
If I may. This is all new to me, as you know, and I'm very familiar with budgeting, and as the mayor talked about, the line item budget that I was used to had such things as uniform allowance, different stipends that were given to employees to purchase their own uniforms and the like. As I move forward, I plan on taking a real good look at what our needs are for vehicles. We were on a replacement program at my former place. We had 17 vehicles, and we bought 2 a year with 17. So with a fleet of 5, buying 2 a year, again, I don't know how they're ran here. I know we're on 12s, which is different from what I come from with 5.8s. But moving forward, I have every confidence in this budget that Joe put together But again, moving forward, I want to take a real good look at what the needs are and find out how to pinch as much pennies as we can. And the training, which is very, very important, is vital to providing that excellent service to the residents, the people who visit Sunset Beach. And I had a motto that if it's free, it's me. So I like a lot of free training. It's nice to have on-hand in-house instructors that can offer that training, and all we have to do is pay the salaries. But again, moving forward, I want to take a very good look at this, work closely with Joe, and find out what we can do to provide the best training and the best service to the residents and folks that visit and work in Sunset Beach.
This is great timing too with you coming in now because you get to see the budget being worked and then you get to add your own flavor to it over the next 12 months.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, Mark, do you have any?
Yeah, they've all been answered, thank you, Bob.
Carol?
I'm good.
I'm good. Everybody else good? You're done.
Great, thank you.
It was painless.
We're just being nice to you this year. Same thing this year. Watch out next year.
We're waiting for Kevin.
He's sick, he's sick, he's sick. Look at him, Joe is sick. I would think you would be saying, gee, let's keep this good thing going.
I just know I had to go right before we started, so
Okay.
I'm good to go for a while.
We'll take a couple minutes.
I told the whole cap.
I just want,
Well, we having a 5-minute break?
Yeah.
all right. So these old sheets are, we don't need the ones that you've changed.
Correct.
I always leave here with a pocket full of, with a pile full of things that are gonna get
Yes.
trashed.
Yes.
All right.
I was able to make it through clear. No, we're not.
Susan, it seems like copying has been departmentalized now.
Yes,
Was it before?
yes.
Oh, so it always has been?
They had codes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
I could have sworn, Susan, there was something else that the fire department was, that the police department was looking at for this year. I thought it was had something to do with radios or
Cameras.
Well, the cameras are going now.
yes, but they were voted on last year.
Yes.
But wasn't there a radio upgrade or something that I had heard? I'm trying to find it here now and I can't.
Portable radios,
I'm thinking of
58,000.
fire department.
We're doing the radio upgrade.
It's the fire department.
Fire department,
Okay, I was like,
58 grand.
They are probably the policy.
I'm getting so annoyed at the news, I think our newspaper deliverer is not including all the inserts, on the Sun News. And I get it for the inserts, I want the ads, and I'm not getting, it's like 3 weeks in a row now, I haven't gotten things that I know should be in the paper. Very annoying.
For 3, did you see how that whole portfolio for dredging went out again to all the
Yep.
things? Did you listen to me? Yeah. It went out yesterday. And
They sent everything,
Peter,
and now they can do whatever they damn well please.
What did you say about dredging?
I said the whole packet went out again to all of the agencies again.
Oh, did it?
From Hilton. Okay.
Listen, the answer is, is we let them know why we didn't send it in the first place, and that, it's not that things aren't being considered. Oh, yeah, all right.
Come get Carol.
Oh, goodness sakes.
No, I mean, your answer was fine. I can keep it in mind of what's, where the soft parts are.
Why don't you go talk to her right now in the hallway? Please.
Chief, did you see the thing I put in your box? I probably haven't seen it yet, but I was pleased to see that the insurance commissioner finally decided he was gonna hold in my firefighter 1 and 2.
Yeah, but it's still not. I don't want it off.
Why do you choose? I've got all the sets of pictures.
The way to go.
Subdivision and committee to honor the American veterans. We're gonna be next week.
Oh, awesome.
About the same place, at least that's the plan I heard. And so, between that, I'll be bouncing around both of them.
I wanna explain.
We just set up in red and stuff like that, and I'll be bouncing around the world.
I want to explain what's going on. Beach was for discussion on Saturday, but neither of these individuals are going to be here on Saturday.
So we're gonna do it today.
Yeah, so Bonnie has the information, she's just got to print it out, so we're waiting for Bonnie to come
You
back
did?
with that information.
Did you just turn it
We'll
in?
do
It's
that
cold in
today,
here.
as well as Saturday. I mean, instead of Saturday.
That's fine.
Remember the old government days when the air was put up to 82 degrees?
You never lived those days in your
I
life.
did too live those
And
days.
you loved it probably.
No, I'm not, I'm normally warm.
Yeah.
For me to be cold,
The 71's too cold?
yeah,
So 72?
yeah.
Earmarks
Yeah,
are the only changes
changes
from
are
that.
short, but there's no sense.
There's no sense to keep it. It'll be confusing.
Is this recycle here? No, this is.
In the kitchen.
You said it. It's not true. The money's coming.
No. You're right. It should make some difference. Is that much of a difference for the 40%?
It's $835.
No, on the 40% outside of our jurisdiction, we're not paying taxes. How much more
Well, if you
on a
take
50% increase? How much more will they?
50% increase. If you take an 85% increase, fire.
They're talking about an 85%?
No, we're not talking about.
Pete, how's your wife?
Hey,
She's good. Well,
Right.
she doesn't go in until the first.
For those four
May,
support.
second, and third.
If you need help, give me a call.
For us to get rid of the
We should be fine with that.
Who's the doctor, Pete?
What is it, hon?
Who's the doctor?
No.
I don't know the name of her cardiologist.
Just me.
It's a lady out of Wilmington.
Oh, okay.
And in all but
I mean, down here, it's Vanessa North.
We got that on
With
the,
Gallant, that's on
the
Ivy.
UT here, there, and everything.
Jody has her own cardiologist.
Her question
So
is,
she has to get that done at New Hanover.
Yes.
That's where I got mine done.
I can be,
I don't
I
think
can be
it
very
puts
critical
sense
of
here.
myself.
It's gonna save me a whole bunch, because my house is
rather be
valued so
someplace
high.
in case it's a problem.
No, you know what the number we need? The number we need is on the 40% of properties outside of our jurisdiction. Those 40%, whatever the value of those things are, whatever their fire fees are, if the fire fees go up 50%, how much more will that 40% of those properties bring in?
It doesn't, we have a spreadsheet that'll tell you that, but their fire fee has to go up to 86%.
No,
As we should.
I understand that, because they're not paying,
All the meeting back.
that's what I'm asking. I wanna know, if you increase the fire fees by 50%, of those 40% of those properties, how much more will they be paying? Because that amount of money
See what
seems
beats
to
you,
me
brother.
is a
No,
true,
I gotta work.
that's the true
I said,
taxation.
see Saturday, but I have to work.
You're lying.
It's all that beats.
I understand, I'm not asking, and
It's
I'm
the
just
only
saying,
thing
to me,
you have to do
that's
is
the
make it
true
consistent with the people.
savings.
They don't know
On-
they go off the leash at the garbage can
For
or
people
the
who are
sign.
already paying property
I was always
taxes,
told the sign.
we're reimbursing the fire department
Right.
for
But
$800,000.
I was there the other day when the beach patrol said blast.
If those fire
garbage
fees
can.
go up 50%, that
I know.
brings in X number.
I understand your logic.
I mean, you talk a couple hundred yards, but still, half the people will take one thing and the other half take something else.
But any conversation on that, really is just,
I understand, this is all hypothetical at this point.
even the base spreadsheet.
It's insane.
Right,
Not me. I was told by Susan I can't do that.
you know, I fought that down.
You're paying,
Right,
paying that,
right,
total of that.
right,
Just give them that. Well, you know something, next time I'll throw your phone out of my car.
right,
I can't believe you went a whole day
Right.
without your phone.
right.
We're driving around and see phone drop
Well, I
down in the
always have
pocketbook
trouble
or
with
wherever.
what I consider
It's slid. I have
regressive
my seats like
taxes.
this,
I mean,
And
I
my
view
floors
my
are black, our
obligation
phones is
to
black.
pay taxes
I didn't see
seriously.
it.
If I've been blessed enough to
So,
have
so don't
something
you know, I was
worth
walking
more,
down the street
you
with
know,
my dog
that's
off
my
the leash.
obligation.
7:30 in the morning,
Sales
guess who drives
tax,
by?
things like that are very
Busted,
regressive
yeah.
taxes, and people without the income are paying more.
The fire fee is really unfair.
It's a regressive
Beach
in
Patrol.
some respects, except for the fact that it does take into account size of properties, which balances out a little
All right,
bit.
let's go back into session.
Not-
That's the beach.
What you're receiving is the accommodations tax part, the 3%, not the beach erosion, which is
Oh, okay.
2%, or the county. So this is the 3%. The reason why you're receiving it today instead of Saturday is because Kevin can't be here Saturday. And the accommodations expenditure budget is a combination of the fire department and Dustin's area.
Right.
Deputy chief would probably be working at the beach.
Correct.
All right, well, we've all had a chance to look at this. The new numbers, really, there's only, on what was presented this morning, there's really only one different number, correct? Bonnie?
Well, yes, I mean, it has a couple of parts to it, but
Okay, let's start with questions on what was presented. Mark, you have any?
I'm just now looking, yes.
Carol?
Hang on.
I think I did not understand your question.
The sheet that we got this morning for the fire department has only one that's highlighted.
Yes, there are two. The one is the.
Oh, I'm
pension.
sorry, there are two.
Everybody
Yeah,
had the
I am.
pension change. But you're right, I changed a number in the projected for fiscal 17.
Okay. So we all have had these numbers before.
Correct.
So what's the story with department supplies? Dropping. Oh, that's the increase, never mind. Never mind.
Bonnie,
Mhm.
I'm looking at the summary that you provided a couple of weeks ago. and
Mhm.
I don't like normally to get down to the weeds. But I'm bringing up just the pension issue just for my own information and hopefully it'll helpful to my colleagues. The pension is paid for, the pension is non-contributory by the staff?
No, the staff has a mandatory 6% contribution.
They make a 6% contribution and the taxpayers pay the
The state
rest.
requires that employers
So
add to
this,
that.
this number reflects the taxpayers'
The employer
Portion.
portion of the pension, correct.
The employer,
yeah, the
Employer.
employers.
our portion.
Correct,
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
The
all of that
employee-
is dictated by the state.
correct,
It's not dictated by us.
no,
right.
that's state controlled.
In our case, that
Yeah, I
pension-
just wanted to refresh my head on that, and then
Okay.
we get down to group health insurance.
Mhm.
And when I look at the summary page, and that was projected in fiscal year 17, it's 295,000. And this year, on the summary page, that number is now 365,000. Now, please explain to me, we're going to have an issue with health insurance. Now, I don't know, I forget if the employees contribute to the health plan or not.
They do. Perhaps this would be a good time for Lisa to.
Well,
No,
actually,
no,
what,
No.
I'm just trying to get an understanding, because health insurance is going to be rapidly increasing.
It always does. Right.
Yes. And what controls do we have in place? Are we at the mercy of Blue Cross and Blue Shield in North Carolina?
Susan?
I don't mean to interrupt, Rich, but before, we can do the health insurance discussion at a later time. Right now, it's the fire chief's time to present his budget as proposed. Please, and then, because that's an overreaching discussion,
All right, does
just
any,
like the up to
I have
3%
no
merit.
difficulty, but I would like to
Okay.
get some answers.
does anyone have questions?
I
for
do.
the- Okay.
Okay, equipment repair, maintenance, well, let's look at the equipment on here. The rest of the numbers, you talk about inflation, that was very clever, by the way, having an inflation figure, and it makes us say, okay, goodbye.
Yeah,
That
good.
was very good, I don't think we've seen that before. Okay, air cylinders, what the heck are those?
Those hold our breathing air. That's how
Yeah.
we fill our tanks, our little tanks we wear on our back.
Right,
These air cylinders.
you need 4 new ones, they rotate out of service too.
They only have a shelf life of
Okay.
15 years.
Just as a
These are
suggestion, just make that clearer on the next budget. So
I
it'll
had
make
those little
somebody else
sheets.
much happier.
I have those right here.
And this air machine, 20, that's a big
That's-
number.
That's what makes the air that goes in those bottles. It's the compressor part of it.
And we have one that, has given up the ghost?
Yeah, and we're having it maintenance 3 or 4 times a week, and the guy came in finally
And
last week and said, we need to go ahead and be looking at a new one.
you need to go, is it in an emergency or within the next 6 months, or
Yes, it needs to be
Okay.
done. It needs to be done.
portable radios? We spent so much money on all this radio equipment, whatever happened with that? With the county and changing the whole thing? Has that
Well-
gone through? Have they upgraded the whole system?
The system's upgraded, and as you know, it's been 9 years since we bought our first set of portable radios. Our mobile radios are fine, the ones that are in the vehicles are fine. We had several, we live in a world where we damage things. We have several radios that were damaged, we went out to do repair, and the dealer who works on our radios told us that parts are no longer available for those radios. They're obsolete. So I have several radios that are not working, that need to be replaced, and they will no longer make parts or be able to repair the radios the portable radios that we have currently.
Any grant opportunities out there for that? There used to be.
Not for us.
No, for
Susan?
DOJ generally, but again,
Yeah.
radios are probably one of the most important pieces of equipment
I'm
for
not,
these firefighters.
Yeah,
I'm just,
and
I just
I'm
want to
not-
point that
I'm
out.
just asking.
And
just
what I'm
asking.
doing right
I'm
now,
just-
Carol, is I'm
just
phasing
making
them in.
that statement.
Okay.
I'm doing 10 this time. That's 10 radios. That's the
Okay.
cost. So we're gonna phase them in over the next, what did I have written down? Got me off. I gotta have my little sheets in front of me, my reminder sheets. But we're phasing them in over the next 3 years. We're gonna
Okay.
replace them all with a newer, upgraded model, waterproof. They've done a lot of changes. And in
Okay.
our business, waterproof makes a big difference.
The Chevy Tahoe, yours is how old?
It is a 2008. It's
How many miles does it have, Kevin?
75,000.
That's a baby.
No, it's not a baby. That is
My
one
car's
wore-out
150.
vehicle.
My Tahoe's
miles on
got
it.
325,000 miles.
Your vehicle doesn't respond to emergency scenes. Mine does, and it is wore out. Mine's been on the beach in flooded waters up to the mirrors. It has seen its fair share. And the other reason that we are looking to replace, and we're getting out of the Tahoe business, NFPA is recommending that we no longer travel with our turnout gear in our vehicles anymore. So we're switching over to pickup trucks or trunked vehicles if that, our gear maintains the carbon that we're out in, and it causes cancer, so that's a big no-no now. So that's the other reason. And my truck leaks. Every time it rains, the back of it gets soaking wet, and we can't get anybody to figure out why.
Here, $5 punch up, no, I'm joking.
Hey, I had plastic over it this week.
All right, other,
That vehicle has, I mean, it's been a great vehicle, and the good thing about it being a little lower on the mileage side right now is we probably get a decent price for it when it goes back out.
right, other comments from council? Okay, you wanna, stuff you wanna present?
Yes, you know, as every year, I just want to say my piece. The biggest need that I have at the fire department is personnel. We've talked about this for, I don't know, how many years have I been the chief, Carol? Since I've started, we've talked about this. And I know I just,
Before you started.
yeah, I like to get on record as saying, I need personnel.
14 now.
I have 14 now. I have 14 people, and my biggest issue is right now is they have so much time built up. And when somebody takes a day off, you know, here lately, this guy and this guy right here have been working some 12-hour shifts because we have no part-time people that can cover. So I'm working shift to cover the fire department, and that's just not working out.
Now, do you want part-time or full-time?
We have part-time staff. They're unreliable. They have, let me explain a part-time, I did it for years when I was on shift. I have no buy-in. I take no pride. I'm there for a paycheck. They take no pride. You know, me and Richard, we go through a lot of part-time people. I've got a person up there that can attest to that. You come in looking like a slob, not doing your job. I don't need you. I have some that have some respect that come in and do what they're supposed to, but they just don't take the ownership of that fire department like when you're paid, when it's your full-time job. So part-timers serve a purpose, but they're just not getting it done anymore. We're having a large problem with covering shifts. And that's my biggest issue, that, and, you know, I brought in some new volunteers. We went out and we got some volunteers. Problem is they can't put an air pack on and enter a building and do what I need people to do. To get that component, I have to have paid staff. It's gonna have to be the 20-year-old, you know, and that's the nature of the beast here. And I mean, I've been going after you, saying we don't meet the standard 98% of the time. And I can go back to every little
The
comment.
recommended standard from the Fire Association lobbying group, so let's be clear. about
Yes,
this.
it's not the recommended
It's not a
standard.
national requirement.
Actually, it is now. It is an OSHA requirement now that we have 2 in and 2 out. And we're not meeting
No,
that.
you said NAFTA, I said national.
The NFPA required it, but now OSHA has adopted it. OSHA has adopted the 2 in, 2 out rule. It is now a CFR 19-6. I'm very familiar with it, somewhere in that area. But we do have, that is an OSHA regulation now.
What
As
happens
you,
in little fire departments?
they're under a different thing. They're not considered a career department. When you're volunteer, you have a 1720, which they fall under. We fall under 1710, unfortunately. There's 2 different standards that are met, and whichever standard you fall under, the OSHA falls under paid personnel, whereas volunteers are given a lot more leeway, and they do see a lot less action. That's the other thing.
What would happen if you had 1 additional employee? Just to cover absences and things like that?
Could you change that answer just a little bit of the question? What is it that you need and what are you looking for?
Well, what I
And
need is
why?
6 people.
That's-
6 people,
That's a very bad question. That's the question that we have not let him
6
answer
people,
for years.
No, that's
is
the
what
question
I
we need to
need.
know if we're addressing the fire department.
and what I'm
Be
looking
careful
at,
what you ask for.
and here's the situation which we've hit. Since July of last year, we've had several incidents. And here's what our problem is. Right now, we roll in with 2 men on an engine, which is a pumper. One has to run the controls on the pumper. The other one can't do anything until somebody else shows up. And that has been a big issue.
That's on the second fire station, is that correct?
The second fire station
Yeah.
has 2 people on it also. When you have one of those guys catching the hydrant on that truck and the other truck, we're hooking up trucks and not putting any wet stuff on the hot stuff. That's our main issue. We have enough guys to get started, but not putting any water down. So, you know, fortunately, some of these things, I've been in town when they've happened, but, you know, I'm supposed to be in command and be watching to make sure nobody's
What
doing
is-
anything.
What does Calabash do?
What does Calabash do? They run one station, and they have 4 guys running out of one station.
Would it help us,
You're
Kevin,
making
if we
me-
close one station down and just have one?
I mean, that's gonna take away from the people that live on the other side of our town. I have no direct route from this side of town to that side of town, so
But
it
in a
doesn't.
sense, we're already taking away, because if they're on the other side of town and a fire occurs, they've got to wait until the first station shows up.
Yeah, see, it doesn't make logical sense
Well, it doesn't to
to
you.
me. Yeah.
To you. I understand, but if I take that engine away from that side of the town, okay, take those guys, right? You gotta look at everything, not just the fire scene. If there's a cardiac arrest, that's that much longer that these 2 people can do a cardiac arrest. We can get that started.
Yeah,
I-
but,
We're taking people away.
but the county has an EMT service next door. to the
Okay,
fire
they were
station.
out of trucks 3 times yesterday. 3 times.
There is
I
no-
went on a call yesterday because we had 3 at one time, and we waited for a truck to come all the way from 211.
Listen, there's no question that, you know, if we were a really wealthy town and we had the resources, and you said, hey, I need 6 more people, we'd say, sure. But 6 people on a budget is, what did I anticipate that increase would be? I mean, something like-
325,000.
It's like, you know, it's more than that with, it's 2, 3, 4 cents on your tax rate. And that's what we've been loath to do with as many jurisdictions in the surrounding area who also respond. It's a terrible, terrible balancing.
Susan, is there any grants out there for us with the fire department?
The grants that they come up with will help pay for a salary thing for, up to on a sliding scale for about 5 years, but then it's on the town.
Yeah.
You're really committing to that increase in staff. You shouldn't look at the fact that maybe it's cheaper for year 1 and year 2. Eventually,
But
you're
it
gonna
doesn't
be
hurt to
paying-
have that money, if we can get it. It helps our budget.
No, but you gotta watch out for where your staffing winds up, because what you're doing is you're encumbering future budgets
Right,
for years to come.
right.
Let me add
I
some,
struggle with your.
let me add
Oh,
some
I
more,
haven't
understand.
thought about it.
let me add some
Yeah,
more
I
confusion to
completely
this.
understand. I'm just telling you what I need, and that's the
Let me
biggest thing.
add some more confusion to this. He's also telling the fire district fee committee what he needs. And the fire district fee committee accepts a budget and then fixes what the fire district fees are gonna be based on that budget. If everything was equal, as we're trying to get to the point where a house in Sunset Beach is covered the same as the house in Ocean Ridge, portion of which is within our district, then it's not gonna be, that 6 people are not gonna be totally funded by Sunset Beach. If it's spread equally over the 10,500 units that are within the district. And if we can get the district fees to a responsible level, an equal level, the town is not gonna be underwriting it, because the cost of those are gonna be paid by the fire district fee. Now, obviously, the fire district fee would have to go up. But once we get to that point, the point I was making earlier is, if we were able to do it correctly, and I run a whole bunch of numbers and a whole bunch of property cards, with the reduction in the tax rate based upon assumption of that additional cost, or their proper cost by the outside properties, there's actually a savings to the vast majority of Sunset Beach taxpayers.
But that gets wiped away when he adds 6 people.
No, I'm using a number. The number he presented to the Fire District Fee Committee is different than the number on here.
Well, Bob, that fee, would that cover that $325,000 for the 6 people?
I'm right, Peter, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's right. Mayor is exactly right, and yes, Mark, it does cover it, because the budget that we're looking at here is $1,550,000. The budget that the county is looking at as a reasonable budget is $1,008,000. So it includes the $325,000 that the chief is talking about. I'm gonna disagree a little bit with the mayor because it's because we can't really predict what's gonna happen here. We could, and I think it would be, I don't wanna be party to misleading anybody. It could be a wash, or we could end up, if the fire fees go up, it's a certainty that the people outside of our corporate limits, but in our fire district, are gonna be paying more, which means we get more. So that's a known, but it's.
So Peter, does the county gonna put their hands into this and take some of that fee?
No.
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 Because the county right now is already underwriting smaller departments like Grissetown to the tune of millions of dollars.
How many
So
townships
increasing-
like us supplement their fire department? Just 2, the whole county.
Who's the
Everybody
other
does.
one? Who
No,
else?
no, didn't he say there's only 2 that?
There's only 2 counties within the state of North Carolina
Two
that.
counties.
Count, yeah,
There's 3
No.
counties, we're one of them. There's 2 others that use a fire fee
right.
process as opposed to just having it all on a property tax.
I think the question he asked was, what other towns in the county supplement?
Yeah, what town?
Well,
And that would be everybody, all
Well,
towns.
one of the
Even,
problems-
even the volunteer
By the way,
department
what
in
does Ocean
Calabash
Isle
is
do on this
supplemented.
2 and 2 out?
They have one station. They're running a 4-man engine company all the time.
But Mark, the problem is you got 19 municipalities in Brunswick
They have
County,
one station.
and not everyone has a fire department.
Well, they get ready to have
Calabash
two.
has more than 1 station.
No, I said,
I was answering Carol's
So
question.
what do they do?
Calabash?
It's,
They run out of one station.
they have another station with equipment in it
Yeah.
that they can respond out of in need, but they're not gonna,
But they don't staff it.
they don't staff it.
But they will
90% of
be,
our calls are medical.
Yep.
You have to,
they will be staffing their new station. That is one of the things that's in their plan. You know, I just sat through this peer review on all this funding for the county, and that is the biggest thing. That was the largest all across the county is staffing. Lack of. And we have a lack of volunteers in our area.
Oh, just wait for the mayor. Again, if we
That's
could,
not what's in these numbers. We should just right now, in terms of the budget in
yes,
front
ma'am,
of
if we
me,
could get through the one, what
I'm
were
okay
presented.
with what's on this piece of paper.
And I'd also like to, I'm going to bring back personnel, because this is not the only department, given the stormwater management plan proposal, we may require additional personnel to perform those duties, but I don't want to get horse before the cart. If we can get through this, and then we can get to beach patrol and keep moving forward.
Well, maybe this is a rhetorical question. The Fire District Fee Committee, which is not just the 3 of us, it's 3 other people, establishes a budget of $1.8 million, and we're dealing with a budget of 1.5. What do we do?
They're not establishing that. Those numbers are always like that. They're higher on their side until we finish our budget. When you guys approve the budget for my department, he'll adjust the numbers.
Okay.
That's the way it's always been done. And we should have probably explained that to you in the
Okay.
meeting. You know, you have a lot of things, you know, until you guys make the final decision, that number is just a number that he goes off of. And it can be adjusted back down.
So are there other things you want to discuss beside personnel?
That's my big thing. I have nothing else to discuss. The rest of the budget is as it is, and, you know, just personnel is one of the things I need. I've got to.
All right, any other questions of?
Yes, have we got the new truck?
Yes. We are gonna do in May, probably an open house to come down and look at the new truck. We've been working we're mounting equipment still. It's,
Oh, you are?
you know,
Good.
we still have some things going on with it, it's not
You
ready
pleased with the
for.
truck?
I am.
Good.
Are you pleased with the truck? I haven't asked anybody else, I think it looks great.
Okay, good. It's functional.
Yeah, it works well.
Good.
We ready to move on to beach patrol?
Now, this says accommodations, do you really need this to say beach patrol?
Well,
On top
Paul-
of the sheet that you just gave us, Bonnie?
Well, that's the name of, that's the formal name. Accommodations Tax Fund. It's a separate fund.
A lot of the items are for Dustin, some of the line items.
So these are the items that are funded strictly from the accommodations tax, the 3%, not the 2% that goes to beach nourishment. That's a separate fund.
So surf chair.
That's not us.
That's Dustin, and we can talk about that on Saturday.
What was that? Sorry.
Surf chair.
What I asked Bonnie to do is go ahead and get this, because we won't be here Saturday, and that is the items that we'll be dealing with. We have the non-ethanol fuel that goes into our beach patrol. That's
Okay.
an increase there because of non-ethanol fuel.
Keep going.
We have the additional jet ski maintenance. We got some dedicated jet skis, last year before last.
We did not agree to fund jet skis, but somebody donated?
They donated. We didn't have to. The guy
Last
gave us
year.
2 of them. And they have been wonderful. They work out great on the beach. They're great for us to get on. We bought a little sled that goes on the back of them. The problem is, the donated jet skis are a maintenance nightmare. They are costing us $3,000 a pop every 6 months.
That's why they give them to you.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that, but they were freebie. It was a good for us to figure out, instead of buying one and figuring out it didn't work.
But you're sticking jet skis in when we certainly, the last time this came up, we did not agree for a jet ski purchase. And here it's in here for a tiny little line item. That's why we need these justifications. I mean, I don't like this. It's,
I'm sorry. I'll have them for you.
you know, and
We
so
have-
what you're asking for right now is for us to have the conversation of whether or not we want to approve jet skis for the beach patrol people. Is really the bottom line,
They're
right?
not gonna be for the beach patrol people. They're gonna be for the staff that does water rescue, which is my fire
So,
staff.
and the UTV too on here. The
Yes.
last time we got a presentation from you, I think we said no. And now I've got a little line item.
You didn't say no, we got a UTV.
No, we got,
Yeah, it's a side-by-side is what it's
We said
called.
no on something. Was it the jet skis?
You got the jet skis. You approved them because they were a donation.
Kevin,
Yeah.
Kevin, you made a number of terrific improvements regarding public safety. And I don't think anybody debates that. And there's a cost associated with that, too.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's real life. You know, there was a time when the beach patrol was a $30,000 item. And now just the salaries and wages of 45, excluding other overhead. And then you add the jet skis and, you know, we're talking about, I don't know what all this other stuff is, but down below, but we're talking about a unit that's, it's nearly doubled in cost. And now it says down here, I don't know if this is a 2017 3/4 ton pickup, what's that for?
That is the truck that hauls our boat and our trailer with the jet skis and the UTVs in it. That vehicle is a 2006 model that has holes in the roof, so when it rains,
Yeah, you get wet.
you get wet. And the seats are rusted out. I mean, that vehicle's completely done. I mean, that has been in and out of the water enough that, I mean, I can't wait on that. That has to be replaced. That vehicle's in terrible shape.
Fiscally, maybe, this is a stupid question, known for stupid questions. If we were gonna purchase a new, replace the Tahoe, could that substitute for this?
That's separate. This is what we use strictly for the beach. This goes.
I understand that, I
Yeah,
understand that.
well, the vehicle that we're replacing is the one I used to drive
I understand
back
that,
and
but if we
forth with.
replace it, so you get another vehicle,
Uh-huh.
can that substitute for this, for a purchase of a 3/4 ton?
We already have a 3/4 ton.
I understand, but you're just saying it's basically inoperable.
The one we have right now?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it drives. It goes back and forth.
I understand it, I understand.
But it has holes in the roof. I
I'm
mean,
talking
and-
extreme when I say it's inoperable.
Yeah.
But, if you get a new, to replace the Tahoe, can your vehicle replace what you
You're
would need for
asking
the
if the
truck?
Tahoe can pull, it won't pull. Well, no, we
That's
need
my
a
question.
3/4 truck. We need the bigger truck
Okay.
to haul the trailer with the
It's
jet
apples and
skis.
oranges, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But if you
I
bought a-
understand where he's going,
if
but
you
it's
bought
not
a-
got the towing
okay.
capacity.
But if you bought a 3-ton, couldn't you use it for both situations?
Not if it's at my house.
How many times have we used jet skis in the last year? Because we got them given to us.
Last year, probably about six to 8 times. Well, what we did, I don't want to step out of bounds here, but when we took the donation for the 2 jet skis, we sold a boat to Southport. So our original goal about 10 years ago, we had 2 boats in service. And what we asked for, the boats, launching our large boats on the Strand was dangerous and difficult. Now, obviously, sometimes we do have to do that depending on the situation, if there's a large boating accident or something like that. But the ultimate goal was to get rid of one of the boats and pick up a jet ski. It came quicker than we wanted to. We were ready, but we had the donation to the 2 jet skis. And one of the skis are pretty good, but they're older. It is still a lot of money. And Bonnie's was one of them, brought it up about how much it's costing us. And it's costing us a lot. It's just annual maintenance, anything in the saltwater, annual maintenance. So we did get rid of one of the boats, and that is our goal, to keep 1 jet ski in service instead of 2 boats, just for the safety factor. So that's one of the things about the jet skis we want to keep going.
Even if you buy a new jet ski, you're still gonna have annual maintenance. Will it go down significantly?
It definitely will go down significantly. It'd come with a 2-year warranty, but it's one of those things where the dealer has recommended, if we were able to get a new one, we need to put it on a 2-year rotation. One of the things I would love to ask for is a 2-year rotation, possibly 3.
And
But-
that's gonna go more into our capital outlay when we start doing a little more on it. It's salt water. These UTVs and ATVs, they don't last. They should be on a 2-year rotation. We're doing the best we can to maintenance them, make them last,
I
but
know a lot of people with jet skis, and they last longer than 2 or 3 years.
Well,
Because
how-
they're also pulled out of they may be on a, on a thing where they're out of the water. What do you call those, floating?
Floating dock or a dock lift. Ours are kept
Do you
out of the
need that?
water, and
no, ours are kept out of the water.
it's kept out of the water.
We
Why
don't,
is he saying a 2-year rotation? I mean, that just,
when we have to have it, if your jet ski at home stops running,
you don't have to have it.
it's fine, I'm out of a jet ski for a week. For us, it has to be maintained perfectly at all
Everything we
times.
have is a necessity. It has to be ready to go right then, right there. It's not a,
$15,000 for jets? I did not think they were that expensive.
Oh,
It
yeah.
just strikes me as,
Well, that includes a trailer too, about $1,000 trailer,
why are we buying a trailer?
single trailer,
Okay. I didn't know we had to buy another trailer.
for a single.
We'll have to talk about that. I don't see the need. If we're getting rid of 2, we're getting rid of 2 for 1 also. That's the other thing you need to think. If we're getting rid of 2 jet skis just to have
we
1.
never, you accepted a donation. We never approved the jet skis. in the
Wait a
first
minute.
place.
I was told that you guys were on board for the accepting of the donation. Was I not told that? I asked that question. Is this okay with the council? And I was told it was.
Because you went to South Carolina, saw how they worked in South
Yes,
Carolina.
we did.
You
We-
came back to us and said, listen, I prefer to have the jet skis over the boat. I do remember that discussion.
And I said, I would rather try, and we needed to try it. And I said, perfect opportunity. We're getting some free jet skis to test this theory to see if it worked.
Look,
We've tested it, it
truth
works.
of the matter is, we're a water community. we should be encouraging things. I'm giving you a new answer,
Okay.
which you will like.
I'm fine.
I'm okay with a jet ski if you're telling me we need that for water rescues or whatever. This is nothing to do with having lifeguards or being on patrol all the time for those types of situations, right?
That's correct.
How much money will you get for the existing jet skis?
There's no telling.
A couple thousand?
I'll leave that to Bonnie because.
Not much. We'd have to do
So
the
that will go
auction.
towards helping the buy-in of the jet ski.
Definitely a little bit, but it's not gonna be much at all.
But you know, we're doing a package here because we're getting rid of the truck that hauls these things too. I mean, that's the other thing we're asking for. We need a new truck to go with
Does that
it.
truck also pull the boat?
It pulls the boat, the trailer that carries the UTV. Anytime we have to go somewhere, that 3/4 ton truck.
What happens to the current, you have a trailer now that takes two?
Takes three units now.
Takes 3
Are
units.
you
Can't
talking
be
about
used for
UTV
one?
or, I'm sorry?
The jet ski, you said you needed
We got
what do
a,
you use now?
we got a double trailer with the donation of the 2 jet skis.
And you can't use a double trailer with one jet ski?
Well, I mean, we'll just get rid of that trailer, sell it as a package trailer, 2 jet skis out the door. And like I said, we need to discuss that because we do have a single trailer.
We bought a single.
We have a
trailer.
single trailer already, so that money could go
Okay.
down on that. We may
So why
not
don't
need
we
that
fix-
trailer.
Why don't you fix that?
We need to do that.
Definitely. I think I spoke out of place.
Yeah,
I
I think he
apologize.
got a little
So
ahead
the-
of himself.
is
We have the trailer.
Is the consensus here that we're okay with this jet ski purchase? Yep. Okay.
Any other comment, discussion? Anything else you want to contribute?
The only question I have to ask is, I'm on the beach all the time walking Joey. Sometimes I see the patrol go to the last sign, turn around. Sometimes I see them go all the way to the jetty. Is there a purpose for doing that? Should they always turn around?
What we try to do is just stay within the town limits, but
Right.
a couple of times a day, maybe once or twice, we do go all the way to the end and
Okay.
pick up, especially in the mornings, we try to pick up that trash down there and.
Right.
It's not in the city limits, but we are responsible for emergencies down in that
Well, I have
area.
no problems going all the way down. I think it's necessary.
But sometimes you see them, we trying to stay within the major congested areas. We have, go down there, and the last couple of times you may have seen, we've had a couple calls on the backside of Bird Island that we actually sent the UTV to see if they could make access down there.
Are they going to have that concert this year again back there?
We didn't have it last year, it got canceled.
Council, right?
I-
That's due to weather though, right?
No, I believe it was due to the Coast Guard said no.
Oh, good, good. They got smart.
Now, they know what they have to do this year, but as I pointed out to them in that room, they would not be getting that much cooperation from us because it's not in our city limits and we have a fee thing. And I just can't dedicate the manpower that it took to help them last year. So they would
Right.
need to contact the county in South Carolina. So,
Okay, good.
Mark, to better answer your or to answer your question, extension, a lot of times in beach patrol, when I've worked, people will say, hey, there's an elderly gentleman with a bicycle down there almost to the jetty, looks like he's having trouble. It hasn't been called in. The UTV then goes down just to say, hey,
Right.
buddy, you doing okay? But it's just an expansion of the beach patrol
Well, I'm fine
process.
with it. I have no problems.
Are there any other questions from the council? Anything else, Kevin, that you want to present?
we're good.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me.
Next up is planning and inspections.
Not in favor for that. The truck.
If you,
All right, where are we now?
planning inspections.
Fellas.
Bonnie, the only change from the sheet we got earlier was, there's only one light item, which is due to a state increase.
The pension, the
Okay.
pension increase. Yeah,
Otherwise, the budget's the same.
correct.
Questions from council?
Yeah, I just have a few, Bob. Under professional services, was that
Yeah, what's the story there?
under the professional services, was that for Wes?
It's the cog.
Oh,
Yes.
And what is this? Built-in flexibility,
Hold on a
decreased
second.
planning?
He's addressing.
That's his professional services.
Yeah, all the professional services were for use of the COG at this point, in the absence of my position.
That, so people understand that are not into acronyms. It's
Oh, yeah,
Council
the
of
Council of
Governments.
Governments, it was Wes McLeod coming down to act as planning director, among other things for the town.
Which is offset in the salary line above. 277,000 was budgeted for salary, but projected is 180. So that difference is we used the contractor instead.
Bonnie, I got a question. In travel and lodging, it goes from $1,100 to $10,000.
That has a corresponding increase in the certification and training as well. Hiram and Carrie.
Like I said, I've only been here just 8 months and trying to get my hands wrapped around working on this. My understanding is the reason it hadn't been spent is because no one has been, which, obviously, Russell was leaving us, and so he didn't ever go and really do any certifications to become an inspector. So I'm not sure also too, I'm not for sure if much was spent when Richard was here as far as outside travel as well. So I'm sure that's why that number has not changed.
What is this office furniture for? I thought the office was, I'm thinking back where that back office down the thing, down the corridor. What is this for?
Oh, under the, where are we at here?
Department
Department supplies. I'm dealing with a broken desk right now. We have outdated chairs. We need a new drafting table, an additional drafting table. The department's been neglected, it looks like, over the years.
fellas, what is your staff complement right now, presently?
Presently, it's the
You have a
three of us.
planning
It's the
director.
four of us. It's planning director, me, Chief Building Inspector Carrie. We have Russell and we have Cindy. Russell's leaving us, but we are bringing on Stanley Dills. So we'll still have a four-member staff.
Okay.
And there are five, but there are 5 positions budgeted. There's another position that is vacant.
Will that,
Which position? Another building inspector?
It's the GIS planner that was held by Richard Hathcott. And again, I don't want to discuss personnel right now. I did not fill it because of the pending possible personnel positions that we're going to request at a later date, i.e. Stormwater Management Plan.
Okay, but right now, you have that built in here.
It's in
And
here,
under our current thing, you could just go hire somebody tomorrow.
but I have not.
But
And I just explained to you why I have not.
All right, how many people are budgeted in this?
5 are budgeted, 1 is vacant. I chose not to fill it because I think we need some personnel discussion.
Okay.
Personnel changes discussion. I was not going to do that.
I mean, discussing with us.
Yes.
so I
Yes,
would
sir.
put a caveat on this, that maybe
No, no,
we
as
don't
long as we
want
understand
a
it, Susan, that's,
5-person.
That's
fine.
exactly why I've done it.
We
It's-
have to, you know,
Right.
so we're saying maybe we don't want that.
Well, we'll discuss it, when Susan discusses.
yeah,
it
we'll,
with us.
All right.
make the decision when she makes that presentation. What will that give as far as the levels of inspectors? Will that,
I mean, 2 inspectors, I think we need 3.
Two inspectors, well, me and another guy, me and Stanley, as far as levels.
yeah,
My levels, I'm 3 across the board unlimited.
We love you for that.
And Stanley is, he is 2s. And 2 3s, 2 2s and 2 3s. So we're basically inspect everything, inside the town limits.
Now, Carrie, you know you can't leave, right, ever?
I really don't want to leave.
We're very happy about that. What about a 3rd inspector? I have always thought we
Needed a third.
3 building.
At this time, no,
You've got
ma'am.
vacations, you've got, building is increasing.
Yes.
I'm concerned about only having 2 people.
Yes, as far as, it's a little scary with so much being built right now,
Right.
how it cut off back in '05. As far as, I've looked at the workload, and I've looked back in 16, looking through the old inspections, and just trying to see exactly, where the town was, with inspections, and, as of right now, we're not at a place where we really need more than 2. Now that we've got.
What about code enforcement?
Code enforcement, what I've done on that, I rewrote the job description.
Don't they go together?
Yes, sir, in a sense they do. We are in the process right now. I rewrote the job description to accommodate and do more code enforcement. And Mr. Deals, they have a pretty good aggressive code enforcement plan over, and we're
Who has?
Calabash.
Okay.
The gentleman's from Calabash.
All right.
And so, and he's done some, we've got an interlocal, is that right? We've got a mutual aid agreement with
Right.
Calabash, so he was one of the gentlemen who was coming during the time when, whoever wasn't here. So, but going back to the code enforcement, we are looking at, that was part of the job description, and we're gonna be doing maybe a day a week of doing some proactive code enforcement.
That's been a major.
Yes, ma'am, it
problem.
has, and I've got several complaints since I've been here, and that also brings us back to chapter 51 of getting that, and me and Hiram is working on that now to bring back before you, to put it back into the, of where it needs to be enforceable. So we kind of got our hands tied in a sense. We are sending letters, but we've got to get it back in quick. So that's what we're working on now. Yeah, I hope that answered your question as far as code enforcement. So we're looking to step it up, We've got our troubled areas, and I have.
Do let us know if inspections become a problem.
Yes, ma'am, I will, certainly.
Other council questions?
I have no questions, Bob.
Anything else that you all want to present?
Is Ford 150 replacement? Who's that for?
That'll be for the inspection department, yes, ma'am. Right now, currently, if you'll let me explain here just a little, I kind of went back to the 16, and I had Lori to pull the detailed report. We've had a lot of problems with that truck, my understanding, and I see why, going back and looking at it. We have spent $8,851 on a vehicle that is worth trade-in average of $7,075. Yeah, my understanding is around 10 years is what I've been told is normal for the town, and obviously it's the 10-year mark. The truck is, like I said, we've spent $1,950 in transmission repairs. The warranty is up on that transmission, and there's still problems with it. I spent $1,350 this past year we spent $7,300 on the truck, and it's time to get a new vehicle and let that one go.
And so going back just for 1 second
Okay.
to travel, training, I assume the travel is related to the training. With the high certifications that your current staff has, isn't that all related to certification? Why do we need that?
Some
amount?
of that's also for me, to.
Well, I'm sorry, no.
Okay, but there's continuing education classes that are required to keep these certifications as well, that we need to, and since we have a staff that's got more certifications, that means more people traveling to maintain those certifications. Carrie's got his continuing education, Stanley have his, I've got mine, and this is really just to maintain the professional staff that we've put together here.
But it's a big amount of money, more than we've been spending, it seems. The travel number,
Well,
10,000.
under travel.
I'm looking back at FY15 actual, and it was 3,000.
I don't know who was here in 15. I don't know what anybody was going for. I just know that in order for me to hit, a conference, in order for me to go to 2 classes, mine's gonna be a couple thousands, because it's not just in the area. Mine's across, Raleigh, Chapel Hill, the mountains. Ms. Parker.
Yes, you may recall that we've had 4 significant vacancies and, stops in training due to the vacancies and delayed in recruitment and replacement. That is why the money wasn't not expended as it should have been, because they were no longer with us. Nobody.
Any other?
Think,
I'm
or
sorry, go
one
ahead.
more, and I think it's very important, especially regarding land use law, that these gentlemen and ladies maintain that high level of certification that we can defend in court in the event of any litigation. It's just a very important aspect. It's no less important than keeping our officers certified,
Well, it's
in my
also,
opinion.
it's also from not just defending in court, but to make sure it's done right.
Yes, sir, and I'm glad you said that, Mayor, and that's one thing Hiram and myself and we have, and Ms. Parker, we have, trying to develop a team here, to prevent some of the problems that, we've had in the past. Far as, just putting, everybody having an experience here in the left knowing what the right's doing. And so that's what we're trying to prevent, is any of those, any problems that I've seen since I've been here. That's happened for years. I mean, we've got folks coming in for public records requests for stuff that's been built 10 years ago. So we're just trying to make sure everybody's keeps up their certificate. Well, I've got to by the state, but just as much education as we can, and to be able to have a good strong team with the planning inspections.
There's an aspect of this also that I think being fully manned, fully trained comes in, is this town has a reputation as a very hard place to build and construct, and it's been because of criticisms of
Yep.
relationships between construction personnel, contractors, and our staff, and that's one of the things that, I would be hopeful, and it sounds like you're heading in that direction, to sort of maintain the public relations with the contractors and those professionals out there that we in the community need to be coming here to do things. So,
Yes, sir, and I've had a lot of folks tell me from outside, folks down from the supply houses and things like that, and said, we don't dread going over there to do any work. So we're trying to educate as well, as long as we, and that's, and I think that's been a positive thing, is to reach out to the contractors and kind of build a relationship, and hopefully make things run smooth.
Has it worked?
It has.
Good.
Maybe not all the time, but.
I think one of our problems has always been the consistency of the interpretations. That creates
All right.
confusion.
Any other questions with regard to the
good,
budget? With the budget?
I'm good.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
The next item on the agenda is lunch.
Yes.
It's only 11 o'clock. That's it for today. Bonnie, do you have anything else that you?
Well, if you all want to go, we're prepared, Lisa and I are prepared to do the administration, the council, and finance if you want to today.
I would opt to do as much as we can.
Guys, I just have to be out of here by 12:30.
By 12:30?
So we could do another one at least.
Okay. Oh, great.
The worst case scenario, do one at 2.
Yeah, well, we left them to the end. We're the most flexible because we have to be at each meeting anyway, so we're
Okay. So you want to try to do administration? And then if we do get to
Sure,
finance,
yeah.
we get to finance?
yeah.
Lisa,
Lisa,
is that okay?
I'm saying yes for you.
And
Heck, I would have much preferred going all day today than Saturday, so.
Yeah.
And the-
Unfortunately, Dustin carries like 10,000 departments with him.
the items you're going to be, we're talking about are town council, administration, and finance.
Yes.
Okay. We received the new sheets on council. The only additional one is, the only change, is dues and subscriptions. On
Bob,
admin,
I'm sorry, are we doing finance or?
yeah, I'm starting with the
Town
town
council.
council. That's just the way it's,
Yeah.
is, the only change is, from the earlier one was, dues and subscriptions.
And it actually decreased.
Does anybody have?
Hang on, we need to look through this. Classified.
Yeah, everything's the same as last week, but the dues and subscriptions last week was 5,500 recommended, and it has gone down to 4,500. Miscalculation.
All right, so,
Actually, not a no. We moved the website over to admin.
What is an agenda builder? Is that where we can't add anything to the agenda?
Correct.
oh, I like that one.
An agenda builder is a piece of software that Lou DeVita and I started looking at several years ago. The packet that you get from me every month is paper that is driven through every department as paper that consumes a lot of paper until it gets to the final product. In addition, it creates a lot of movement of staff for approvals of those pieces of paper that are
I'm not
added.
understanding still what this is doing.
Well, she's trying to,
I'm sorry.
she's going
Trying
to
to tell you.
describe the process.
As somebody comes in with a recommendation, it comes to me to be put in a certain format, then it comes to Susan for her approval of the format and the contents before you guys ever see it. What the agenda software package will do will eliminate 99% of the paper and 99% of the employee movement, because it'll all be electronic. It'll go from the department head to me to Susan, back to the department head for changes until it finally gets to a final product. Then it's printed. Once
Doesn't
and
email do
only.
the same thing?
No, it doesn't.
This is not telling me what this is not going to build an agenda.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. You do.
Yes, it does. It builds the agenda by placing the item on the agenda as it's approved. It's software, just like Word or Excel or.
It's over $7,000 a year software.
And also the other properties, I don't know, Lisa, do you want to talk about the archival?
The archival, as you well know, 99% of the documentation from this town pre-2004-ish is in paper form only. So we've got from 1963 to 2004, that's all paper.
Have we ever got a
I'm-
cost of putting that?
That needs to be converted.
Where is that on this? Where do you see that on here?
That's under the,
It's in the administration budget.
it's
I'm
not
looking
under
under town-
council.
I'm looking at your town council. I thought that we're looking at council right now.
Right, my question to Lisa about the archival properly was concerning the agenda builder. As people go back to, isn't there, I'm remembering our conversation about it, and I may be misremembering, but the agenda builder itself allows retrieval.
Correct. The two softwares work together. We've just budgeted them in two different spots.
That's a monthly maintenance of $600?
Yes,
That's a lot of money
yes, the agenda builder is the $600
a month.
A month.
So
a month.
do we own the software?
It's software,
It's like cloud, so it's support, it's,
right.
yeah. It's not like a traditional, it's not like going out and buying an Office suite, Microsoft Office suite. It's a cloud-based software that you pay $600 a month for the support and the functionality of it.
And it's maintained and updated, and you don't have to continuously buy, like with Microsoft 10, 13, 16.
Lisa, how much does that save the town? Town paper, your work, your time, everybody else's time? Does it justify the $600?
Probably
Absolutely.
$1,000 a month.
Off-site storage. The vault's at capacity with paper.
Actually, I just thought of a good analogy, possibly. One of the things in Dustin will be getting, that we have, that we use, is the software, the GIS software. Dustin needs it for stormwater management, planning and inspections uses it. It's cost $7,000 to buy, and then $1,500, $1,600 a year to maintain. This agenda builder, if I can stretch some analogy a little bit, is like a GIS software for minutes and council action. It has that same kind of high-level capability that infinitely gives you more information, makes it more accessible, and also makes it much easier to work with an ongoing operation.
Will citizens of Sunset Beach be able to access this through the cloud and look at stuff, so they don't have to go to Lisa and ask for the minutes from August of 2005?
Yes, they will.
Let me ask another question too. Will this have search capabilities where if we have a topic and we want to figure out when I was
Yes, it will.
reprimanded on council, they could just say Larkin reprimanded, you go back and it would do a search through all?
Yes, it will. And this software will also word search on written words, not only typed. It can key search on written.
What do you mean,
as well.
margin notes?
Wow.
Yeah, so the 1963 minutes that are handwritten
Yeah,
in a composition notebook,
yes.
that the
Yeah, but
ink
you're
is
doing that, all
disappearing.
of those things are great if you start doing the archival thing. And I
Well,
just
that's
took
what
a
this money,
quick flip to administration, I see $50,000.
correct, because we've got to convert 50 years of paper.
Is that a one-time charge,
Yes.
50,000?
Yes.
Yes.
But
The
then we would need
$600
another
a month is
we
the
would need a
only
software
recurring.
then to be able to access it at that, from that point forward. All as that would be is a transition on the going from paper archives to electronic archives. Where
Right.
do we archive paper?
In the vault. It's in the building inspection department. That is basically a closet. It has a fireproof door, but it has a vent in the ceiling. Sure.
Binders. I think you guys need to, if you see it, you'll understand.
Absolutely.
You go do that right now, and we'll go on to other things.
You know, an awful lot of things are showing up in this budget that we have rejected in years past, and it's showing up again. And I'm a little disturbed by that, because if I add up all the things in here, you're talking about, you know, another penny on the tax rate. Now, I know maybe we have more money this year, but that doesn't mean we're gonna have it next year.
Carol, I think that's a misstatement, to be perfectly honest, but I'm not going to go into that right now.
Well, you've got,
Because items were rejected previously does not mean they were not needed or worthwhile. We will bring back what we need to do the job, even if it's been rejected once before, because we feel very strongly about not only providing the service to you as a board, but also to the community. And that's what we keep in mind.
that's all very well said. However, it doesn't mean that in a small town that we necessarily need all these little bells and whistles. And we have got to be careful about this stuff.
This is July 2004 to June 30th, 2005. The books I use today are 6-inch binders, and it takes 2 of them for a year. Somebody comes in and makes a public records request of me for minutes that go back farther than the website does. I go get these books, and I read every page in them, looking for whatever
You'd
they're
still have to
looking
read
for.
every page.
No, they would have access to it themselves,
Why do you have to read every page?
because I have to find what they're looking for. If they're just looking for a set of minutes, that's pretty quick. But if they're looking for the documentation that backed up that action, it's also there.
So you're kind of bringing us into a modern age,
Correct,
where we have access to information, can manage it, manipulate it, work with it.
correct.
Kicking and screaming.
And the 50,000 again is a one-time. The monthly cost that will be reoccurring.
Our archives, putting it in the cloud, someone's gonna come here and manually do that for $50,000.
Yes,
And
and
this
then
is
it'll be
ba-
searchable.
This is my 4th budget year. either sitting out in the gallery or sitting up here. And this has been discussed every time,
Yes, it has.
the need for it.
So the $600 is the only recurring that will happen.
A month, that should read $7,200.
Is there a
Shouldn't
grant for
read-
that 50,000? Bonnie,
I'm sorry?
is there a grant for that 50,000?
I don't know.
Okay.
We can certainly look.
Approve this, once all the changes are put in place, see what the net bottom line is for expenses, and then work our way back if it's not, if we have expense problems. At some point in time, we're gonna have to prioritize our needs.
Well, no, because they started off by saying that they
At
have
some
how
point-
much extra in revenue than in expenses?
I mean, it gets down to the same old budget issue. Is it wanted or is it necessary? So, you know, that's what we're gonna have to evaluate once
But you
we.
gotta do it line by line, Rich. You can't
I-
wait until the
No,
end. Because
what-
she's already said they have $300,000 more in revenue
But what-
than
what-
in expenditures.
But Rich's suggestion is to complete our comments, come out with a proposed budget, and see where that stands. And then obviously, if it's, then you still have to go back and look at it by line by line.
Right.
Right.
Bonnie,
It's a
don't we
tool.
already know where that stands? Don't we know that that's $54,000 more than we budgeted last year? Or am I,
In the general fund, yes.
yes?
And there are things, there are other, these other funds, which we'll get to, there are big ticket items in them. One of the things that this budget does not recommend yet, and as far as this process goes, is stormwater management. We have last year, or in fiscal 17, we are on track for spending, this was one of your questions, Rich, on your email, $350,000 for stormwater management planning. We're going to spend that. Next year, the only thing that's budgeted in that line is $95,000 for the living shoreline.
Yeah, see,
So-
I'm sure, I've been trained with budgets to be on a narrative basis in the sense that if you look at the summary page, we have non-reoccurring expenses each year. And we add them to the budget, like we're doing with the vehicles and software. Some are non-recurring expenses. And it would be nice if we could, knowing what those one-shot expenses were, and just so that we can measure the actual fixed cost, what it takes to run the town before we buy the trucks and all the other things that we do.
Right.
And, see, that's what I was getting at, because
Isn't that what I provided?
we had expenses last year. I forget what they were. I think we had several $100,000 of one-shot expenses. We bought cars for the police and so forth. And I'm just trying to just do a year-to-year comparison to make sure that our trend is, you know, reasonable.
And I think, Rich, that's what Bonnie's trying to do here, because as you look at the summary page, it's giving expenses for this year, and then it has rolling replacements. And those are things that are somewhat predictable. And I agree with you, those should be considered in the total cost of running our town, projected cost of running our town. And there should only be exceptions, like the software to bring all of our things out of the archives in paper. Yeah, that's a one-shot deal.
So we,
To clarify, isn't what we're doing now sort of going through the whole thing, make sure we understand what we're talking about, what the issues are? We're not making decisions at this point.
Yeah.
We're
No.
just
Correct.
exploring and
No,
discussing.
but you're
When
gonna
we get
forget
back
them.
to
In
it,
a sense, you really are.
You're making decisions
Guess what?
now.
You really are doing that, and we really need to do that.
We're not saying line out this or line
You
in that.
can't
We're
wait until the
identifying
end.
we're
Yeah,
identifying
Right.
places that we need
Right.
to discuss.
right.
It doesn't
And
work that way,
when
John. I'm telling you, we'll never get back to it. If we do it now as you go through. You really, it'll never happen at the end. I'm just from my experience, it'll never happen at the end.
The other three departments that we've gone through already, we've just approved their budgets?
In a sense, yes.
I don't understand.
I thought last year we went line by line
Carol's
again.
generalizing when she makes that statement, but there's some meat in that, on that chicken. It's,
Or you think theoretically we could meet 10 more times between now and the deadline for approving the budget? We have a lot of time. We could meet many times
But we're
before
not-
that
Well,
deadline.
I
We're
would,
not going.
I would suggest in.
Thank you for
in-
that. No, seriously.
I would suggest in view of concerns, if a council person has a decided objection to something being included, you express it now.
Discuss it now, exactly. Exactly. And I'm looking, so that's why I'm, concentrating on some of these items that we have either said no to before or postponed, in all fairness, on
Bob,
some of it.
aren't we, I think, I'm making notes, so I'm gonna go back and study this and look at this and compare it to last year's budget, and then come back and ask Bonnie or in the inspection department the questions that come up.
I agree with you, that has to be done.
Right.
That has
So
But
this
they
is not
weren't,
the final.
we weren't scheduling them to come back in for all of that.
We
When are
can.
you gonna do that?
We can.
Uh,
All right,
As an
that's fine
example,
with
we
me.
just talked about the agenda builder, and and we had discussion regarding it and justification from staff as to what it would do and why it was necessary. And Bonnie, Lisa gave us an offset cost. Yeah, $600 a month is the cost. Possibly $1,000 might be the saving in time and
That's what Bonnie,
toil.
I'd like you to find out for us, if this is gonna justify, in reality, is gonna save us money,
But it
Yeah.
doesn't save you money. Where's it coming from? How are you gonna save the money?
well, time and effort of Lisa and everybody else doing the work, the paper, archiving, that's time and money. So we need to know,
But her time and money is already in the budget.
Mayor Susan
You're not
has-
reducing
yeah.
time and money.
but that's not true.
Susan,
If I may. On May 4th, all these questions that are being raised regarding health insurance, personnel, fiscal benefit, that is what we reserved that day for. And at that point in time, every department head will be in this room to answer those questions. And
Alright.
we may even provide answers to those questions prior to the 4th meeting. So, again, if we could move forward, and I have Lori in here taking notes on all the questions that you guys are
So
asking
you've convinced
information
me
for.
about the builder. So, I mean, don't think I don't listen to these things. I do. But you need these discussions now, is all I'm suggesting.
okay,
So we finished with town council?
let's move, well, we also talked about administration,
Well,
because that
let's-
includes the
No, we're not finished with administration.
$50,000 archive.
All right, Inlet and Waterway Association dues, 1,300. We talked about not doing that. What we have. An administration.
Oh, we're on
The bottom of the-
administration?
First of
Yes.
all, I want to talk about the salary study thing in here.
Are we
And
off
you
of
talk
town
about
council?
dredging-related mailings.
Yeah, she's off council.
Well, but is everybody else?
Are we all, that's what I just
Actually-
asked.
I didn't hear you.
No, and by the way, on council, you talk about dredging-related notices at 8,500 under advertising, but in the next page, we've got dredging-related mailings at 3,000.
Two different things. The dredging-related notices are the public notices that are required to print in the newspaper, and the dredging-related mailings are the cost of using the mail house to mail
Thank you very
things out.
much.
All right, anybody have any other questions on the town council?
I'd like to point out one thing. Are you all aware you have a telephone in this room? We've been charging it to the police department, but it's for council business.
We've never used it, ever. Yeah, why do
I
we
mean,
need
it's
it?
something we could take out.
Where is it?
Is it the hotline?
I don't know, the
It goes to
hotline.
Trump?
Cut the cord.
Is this the phone in the conference room, or? Okay.
In the conference room. I'm sorry, not in the chambers, in
Well,
the
the
conference
conference
room.
the
room,
conference
we've used that one
So
when
there's
we
a
used to.
telephone over there that
Okay,
works.
when we went into closed session, or we met sometimes in that
Yes.
room, we used to use it all the time. We haven't done that now in some time. You
We can
have us go to
remove
the
it.
police department.
I think I would like to maintain it, and here's why. In the event that Station 1 is not available as the EOC center. This is our secondary spot. So that's why we have the TV in there and the phone in there.
What's that cost us, Bonnie?
$1,100 a year.
For a phone line, $1,100?
Why?
So that's what,
It's an analog line in case this does become the EOC, because you don't have computers. You're
Yeah,
Right.
but a hard line
Okay.
at 1,100 a year? Phone line at home, a hard line phone is $20 a month.
that's what the, anyway, we pulled the bill, and it's getting charged to the police
But
department.
there must
It
have
sounds
other
like it
things
should be
on that
charged to
phone.
administration.
Lisa, can we just look into that? I mean, that's a lot of
Conference
money.
It
call
also has computer capability in that
Computer
room.
capability.
Mm-hmm.
I think we just need to move it from the council budget to the administration
Well,
budget.
no, think about whether or not we need
We
all of
can.
that in that room.
If that's the EOC for that event, we need all of that.
Do we need 2 EOCs? I thought the whole purpose of having an EOC is that's the place to go to. Why do we need 2?
Because you have a backup.
You need to have a redundant place as an
You
EOC.
say we, you need, who's making that?
We, the community, needs a backup EOC in the event. During the ice storm, this is where we were for 2 straight days in this room, because we could not get to Station 1. I had to hoof it from across the road. Myself and the police chief were the only 2 people that could make it to this EOC, and staff could not get here, and staff could not get there, but I could walk here.
I can understand it's a redundant system. It's like sitting on a rocket with only one system. And if something goes wrong with the system,
Scary.
Right.
We'll just look into the cost. I mean.
Well, we know what the,
I think it's
that's
needed.
what the cost is.
But could we call
I just didn't
AT&T
know
and
why.
ask them to reduce it?
it's like,
The
it's
telephone company?
$92 a month.
It's,
You can.
My DirecTV bill got cut in half because I said I was gonna cancel it, so, I mean.
anyway, that's,
I think a substantial portion of the cost is the Wi-Fi connection to it.
Sounds like it. All
But I
right.
think we need it, so.
Anything
Okay,
else on
so-
council? All right, moving to administration.
All right, so the one item that I just mentioned is towards the bottom of the page, under dues and subscriptions, for Inlet Waterway Association dues. I thought I remembered some discussion about how that wasn't helping us one whit, and we were gonna get out of this. We were not gonna continue to be a member.
We did discuss.
Susan?
Yes, that was prior to the reestablishment of it falling underneath the county. They're looking for monies to help fund beach nourishment. That's their current project right now. Again, I'm just letting you know, Mayor Smith is the head of it.
Every position
They've
they have
asked,
taken over the years has been contrary to the position that Sunset Beach takes. Almost every position that they've ever taken.
They
They were in
meaning,
favor of terminal groins. They were in favor of, I'm going back, and I think it got to a point where we said, the hell with it, we're not gonna be a
Un-
member anymore.
under the previous organization, this is a different organization, different structure, falls under the
is
county.
still, the county, there was an article in today's paper with Marty Cook talking about wanting more terminal groins instead of dredging to
Okay.
help the recurrence of dredging.
This is a policy decision. They asked if we would, if you don't want to, take it out. I mean, it's a policy decision. It's not an administrative decision.
Susan,
Same
what do we get
people.
out of it?
We get nothing.
Susan,
No,
I heard what you said.
Do we even have a member going? You're going. How come this wasn't brought to us? Because we used to have a council member as the member of the Waterway Association. Huh?
I go back, Susan, what does,
Sorry, I'm just remembering some council meetings where that was too contentious.
I do
And
remember
there
that.
was a reason why.
Well,
Susan, what do we
Yeah,
gain from it?
you're right.
Right now, they're working on that redistribution of the sales tax, the resolution that you agreed to put forward. That was one of the most recent projects. I mean, I've only gone to maybe 2 meetings, so.
And by the way, I'm going to say again, if somebody is a member of an organization, we need to talk about the member, the appropriate membership.
Yeah, I'm not so much
If
a member as I'm
anybody is a
attending.
member or representing the town at anything, I think they should be preparing, whether it's 1 paragraph or 2 paragraphs, an email and send it out to the other council saying this is what happened, as opposed to a 3-second thing at the beginning of a council meeting once a month.
Susan,
fine, a policy just needs to be established.
Susan, this Inland Waterway Association, do they have anything to do with responding, or is this a different organization, responding to the legislature's consideration of school calendars?
I don't.
Because at one of the meetings I was at, they talked about, we have to oppose, because one of the discussions was starting the school in the beginning of August.
For tourism dollars, to get people
For
to
tourism
rent-
dollars,
yeah.
right.
I don't, I've only been to meetings where they discuss beach nourishment
No, it was
and
two
trying to
months ago.
obtain funding, grant funding to maintain the federal and state funding for,
All right, it really just deals with inlets and waterways.
yes.
Okay.
But it's up to you. You know, you as a council.
Well, we're not going to make that decision
Well-
right now, but the dues, do we want to remain a member of it? Do you want that in the budget?
Are we voting on things today? I thought we said we're gonna vote on that on the 4th.
Well, but we need to get.
I can see remaining a member,
So
but I
put my
think we
notes
need a
down, Pete,
council
what I
member
wanna
as
do.
the
I mean, if you wanna do it
representative.
now, I don't mind doing it now.
I've highlighted it for something that we have to look at when we get the overall thing back. So far, there haven't been a whole lot of changes in the different budgets we've looked at that's gonna take a whole lot of time. I mean, we may have a debate over it, but there are not a whole lot of changes we've been talking about.
Well, I think in fairness to staff, though, if we have a issue with an item that we've been discussing, we need to put up that flag.
Right.
Because let's not come into Saturday and say, oh, by the way, there's not gonna be any vehicles. We need to give staff an opportunity to respond, like has on several occasions here today. An item I'd like to talk about is the salary survey,
Well, that
Thirty-
was next on my list.
30,000. I mean, and I think we owe it to staff to, in preparation for this budget, if we've already voted on it, it got voted down at a council meeting. So unless somebody's changed their mind, they're bringing this up again. I happen to feel it's a very important item.
Peter, what we did the other day, as far as increasing salary with 2 department heads, I thought we went out and looked at this general look at people's salaries at that department head.
This is a totally different.
So this is for everybody.
And this is on a totally different level. What we did was anecdotal. It was not researched. It was, I won't continue.
It was more like apples to oranges because there wasn't a job audit completed. Different classifications, different names mean different things, have different responsibilities, and have different authority. The only way you can do that is through a study and a job audit to identify the true classification of those positions, the value that those positions provide, and the corresponding pay related to that responsibility.
I understand that, Susan, but my problem is I'm looking at, 5 new trucks, a new dump truck, $50,000 for something, doing the backup system, which I think we need more, Pete. And I really voiced my opinion to you. I thought maybe that was a mistake not to vote for that back then, but looking today's budget, is that more important than Kevin's truck, or more important than archiving the product properly? Or?
Look at what, Mark, I agree with you, but look at what we're doing. We're talking about a 3% across the board, or 3% merit maximum raise. Maybe that's not appropriate. Maybe it should be less than that. Maybe it should be more than that. And I think rather than just, right now we've thrown a number at it, the 3%. I think it's important. We're not debating that fact. We're debating whether a salary study is important or not, Rich. Not whether it's 3% or 1% or 2%.
What I'm trying to understand is, and I asked Bonnie for a list, between the professional services and contract services, I think I calculated it at $356,000. I just want a list of what all those items are, and then we have to prioritize what our needs are.
Right.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah,
And I-
that
Right,
300
and
some thousand
Lori's been
dollars to
working
pay
on that,
for
and
all
we'll have
this?
it
Yeah.
on Saturday.
No, that's good.
Let's
One,
do
I
it.
wasn't
Well,
nagging.
But
I was
that's
just,
what Rich said, that's what we need to know. How far short are we gonna be, or how much more we're gonna have if we do all these things that the department heads need? I'd just like to know, Bonnie, with that savings of 300 some thousand dollars, and the Kevin's truck gets put in, and
All those things are included.
we'll still have a surplus.
We'll have $300,000 to do something with.
because we
A
will
big
have a
ticket item.
surplus doesn't mean that we still have to spend it.
Correct.
it's-
We will have
Bonnie's
$300,000 that
saying
is
we didn't,
not
we don't have to spend it, Rich.
earmarked. That's,
Everything's in here already.
Well, let's get back to the issue here.
Mayor, can you call on Susan?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You can buy as many trucks as you want, as many pieces of equipment as you want. You're willing to invest in the capital to provide the tools. You also need to invest in your personnel to make sure they're making a wage that they can support a family, service, healthcare and other items so they can be healthy, happy, and committed individuals. We have had a large number of exits due to money and salary and the threat of benefit loss. I just encourage you, before you make any of those type of decisions, that it be informed and done in a professional manner by an objective and outside agency.
All right,
Well, I have a problem with that, as a rule with these types of surveys, and I think they're only as good as the information they're given and who they're talking to, and it does bother me.
all right, now, just for Bonnie's planning purposes,
Yeah, just one question on professional services. Does that include Mr. Richardson? Where it says
yes,
legal?
the administration. Legal, all of our legal costs used to be in a separate department, and I've taken them out of the legal department and put them in administration.
Right.
So that last year, and what this doesn't reflect, but the reality of that is that last year we budgeted $225,000
That's
for
correct.
legal services, and this is recommending it be reduced to $150,000.
That's, okay.
Okay.
That's what I
And that's in that line, professional services.
got you
yes.
covered.
the council
What
want...
else is under professional services?
In the administration department, it is just that, legal and the salary study.
Does the council
What's
want...
recommended, I'm sorry.
Does the council want the budget, the preliminary budget, to reflect $30,000 for a salary study?
I do.
Peter?
Yes. And I think Mark did, because we've had a conversation about that. He may have an issue
Well,
with the
he can speak,
cost, but
he can
The
speak
cost
for
is
him.
an issue, but
Yeah, I'm
I'm
torn.
not gonna say no, I'm not saying yes to it right now. Just send
Well,
it
then
over.
it's gotta be in the budget. If,
We can be in a budget, and on the 4th, we'll just decide. I
Well, I
really wanna
think-
look at this a little bit farther.
Goes back to that other exercise, if we had a list of all the contract professional services, then we can prioritize. If that comes down on the bottom, then maybe we just may eliminate it.
but you don't have a consensus to take it out, so leave it in.
Okay.
But Rich, the only reason I'm on the fence about it, even though I hate these kinds of things.
Carol, I'm on the fence about it too.
No, I know, but this has to do with you specifically in terms of your interests. Hang on, let me finish, don't get mad.
I'm not
It's
getting
nothing to
mad.
get mad about.
I'm
You
too old to
have,
get mad.
you have raised the issue of benefits with good reason, for a number of years.
Mhm.
And if this was one way to get ammunition either for or against some of what we're doing, maybe that would be helpful. Because I don't know how else you're going to address your concerns about benefits.
Well, I don't see any other purpose than that for it. And I mean, the purpose of the salary study is to,
Because it's not just salaries, it's everything
well,
else.
for us to make a determination, is this reasonable and is it what is expected? And are we getting, the people getting the remuneration and the benefits they're entitled to? All right,
But
leave
again,
it
does
in.
it help us to put the $30,000 into the salaries of the people that work for the Sunset Beach, or?
That may not be the right thing to do, just what Susan said.
But I hate, Pete, I hate to get there and find that out after we spent the $30,000.
Well, we haven't spent it.
There's certain things you do to get the
I understand.
information you need to make the decisions.
That's why I'm on the fence right now.
Right.
I've
And
discussed it with you.
honestly,
and-
and I'm on the fence. That's
Let's-
good news for you.
All right, we
Got
we
two
can-
people who said no before are now saying they're considering.
All right, we can halt the discussion on the inclusion of that in the preliminary budget because we already decided it's gonna be in the preliminary budget. Susan?
And just please remember,
Maybe three, right?
even if we put this RFQ out, the council can make the choice not to award.
Let's dust off the RF.
Oh, I have
All
it.
right, wait, let's move on.
I gave you some changes.
Okay, let's move on to any other issues.
I don't know what else to do.
We're still on administration.
Oh, so inlet
Yes.
and waterway, wait, hang on. If you think that this is something we should belong to, then I would suggest that we have a council representative, which is really who attends these things, the mayors and council people and stuff from the various towns, as a rule.
Carol, would you be willing to be our
I
representative?
would like to be the representative on that.
And for what it's worth, I just sent Lisa the link and the information on what this Inlet and Waterway Association is, so that we'll have a chance to do some reading and find out, because I had no idea what it was.
I don't either.
It's been around for a very long time.
Well,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean I know.
Yeah,
anything
no,
about
no,
it.
no, I'm just saying.
But I sent.
Can
the
Wilson be our
website to
representative?
Lisa so she can send it out to
You
let
just
the
want me
Well-
to have to write a memo, right?
All right, so that's gonna remain in the preliminary
So we'll
budget.
leave that in there. When is the next meeting? And if you'd fill me in on that, maybe we have to formally do something at the council meeting on a representative?
I'll let you know when they let me know.
Do we need to put that on the agenda for
Will
Monday?
Susan also attend the meetings with you, or just by yourself?
Yeah, that would be, I don't care. She wants to come, that's fine.
Okay, anything more on the administration?
You both would attend the meeting.
If you want to come, that's fine with me.
Doesn't
The
matter.
finance department.
We are
I'd
moving
like
right
that.
along.
Hey,
Finance department, questions on finance department?
give us a second. I didn't think we were doing that today. Under budgeted. What is this, what is this, just out of curiosity, I see it's required, OPEB, what is that?
That's OPEB or other post-employment benefits. Every 3 years, we have to do a study of our it's an actuarial study that's required for audits, our annual audit every 3
Okay,
years.
so the big item here is the
So,
financial
but
software.
we'll go back to, it. So you did the audit, are we in line with everybody else as far as salary and benefits?
Well,
is that
that's
what that
actually
tells
not
you?
part of the audit, but,
It's not?
yeah, yeah.
What's this audit tells you? What does it tell you then?
Oh, this is about, it's something, it's a very kind of esoteric thing that the Government Accounting Standards Board issued a ruling many years ago that governments need to fund in advance of post-employment benefits, health benefits for employees. So that, in other words, put money into a trust fund ahead of the need.
It's a review to make sure that you're properly prepared to make that, to pay that, the money's there when it needs to be paid.
Yes, and it actually determines a dollar amount of your liability every year, and it only is
Bonnie,
even
in the finance, you're
considered.
talking 2 people allocated in the finance
Yes,
department?
Lori and I. Joanne is in the administration budget.
So the big thing is this $50,000, financial software implementation.
Correct.
Now, what is, have
Well,
we
it's 60.
already, have we already approved that?
No, it's,
So,
it would be.
This is the kind of thing, I said, I wish I had.
Right, well, I can provide that, but I can give it to you verbally.
So what's the story?
Okay, what we have now is software that is about 1,000 years old. It's COBOL-based software. Another word for it, it's like a typical
Old
MS-DOS software. It is not Windows-based, so it's very old.
It's
very
ancient history.
archaic, yes. Obsolete, yes, and actually more to the point, the company that we bought it from many years ago and have been paying for support for it, is losing employees, and it's difficult to,
Find someone trained.
correct.
How
So
much
we're-
have we been paying for support?
It's quite a lot, actually, $12,000 a year, I think, something
Is
like that.
that not in here, then?
It's, what it is, it's equivalent to the support that we would pay for the new software, so it's a net zero. This 60,000 is simply to purchase the software, the new software. I've
But
got,
there's still 12,000 a year in maintenance? I
oh,
mean,
yeah,
in sup-
yeah.
Which we
It's-
have
How
now.
did they get away with this?
Oh,
You know, when you think
everything.
about it, it is
yeah.
just outrageous. This is
Yeah.
a
I tell you what,
one-time thing.
Have you
Well-
purchased a new Microsoft Office suite lately?
Yeah, it covers updates, it covers, I mean, there's all kinds of
what
things.
you know what they've gone to?
And-
You know what Microsoft 350
What?
is? 365
What have they
is?
gotten up to?
You don't buy the software, you pay for it for a year. And they update it continually. I had to get it, actually I had to get it to get on Outlook. I had to buy Microsoft Office 365, and I don't buy the software, I rent it for a year.
Right,
Oh, is that right?
right.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
Microsoft 365
In our-
is.
Last week, I can't, right now, I can't read anything on that
Glad I'm a
iMail thing.
dinosaur.
I've got too much space, empty space. I'm getting that much, I can't even get my cursor to move the little thing up from the bottom.
Do we have a company that will put
Huh?
this in?
I'm sorry.
We have a company that
I
will put
keep
this in?
forwarding
Yeah.
everything to Gmail, 'cause
Well,
I can't read
we
it.
haven't
Just
chose-
send
I
me
mean, we haven't
stuff
You
on
haven't put the RFQ out yet?
Right.
Bonnie,
Let me,
if I could, just in 3 simple sentences, how will this new software make it more efficient and beneficial for you? And does it calculate, I know the current software doesn't, but does it calculate summary pages with the different object codes, the summary, the same,
What will it give you that you don't currently?
yeah.
right, the moon. What we have right now gives us very little. This is an example. This is what we get to when somebody wants to know, a department head wants to know what they've spent so far.
Yeah.
Versus what they budgeted. We have to run out a thing that they can't look at. We have to give it to them on a piece of paper. And if they need detail, I don't know if you saw some of the department heads had sheets when Kerry went over what had been spent on the vehicle. He has to go to Lori or me to say, what have I spent?
All right.
So this new software is all the bells and whistles for a very economical price because our needs are not great. $60,000 is a bargain based on compared for what we get.
Is this
which
a 10-year investment?
What's
Which
that?
we want to go back for 10 years and do
one,
something?
well,
I'm saying this is
The
something
one
we can
time.
use.
right, one time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what he meant by the 10
But
years.
it is the latest technology,
And this has also been on the list for a very long time, and it's probably time we
Yes.
bite the bullet.
yeah. But it gives everybody access to it that they
Yeah.
haven't previously had. It
Bonnie,
will
I'd
give
just like to know what
everybody-
would save us by you going to the new system.
What's that?
Is there, no, there's a savings, time.
There's, you
Well-
keep talking about savings in time, and that's great, but it's not like we're hiring another person right now to do that job, so you gotta be a
There's
little
also,
careful.
there's also a whole lot of paper that's saved.
Well, there's a whole lot of paper,
Absolutely.
but if you notice, what you're getting in the budget is on the
Right.
spreadsheet. So just one example of time is I have to take this and translate it
Right.
and dissect it with many more pieces of paper to get to this spreadsheet.
Yeah, that's insane.
So, because that's not normally how it's kept. The financial report that you get every month, I print this out, and then I type this information into a spreadsheet. So we get what you need, but it's time and efficiency. And it's also what other people don't get, because they have to go through me and Lori to get their basic tools of managing their own budget.
Bonnie, you wouldn't have had to been here till 7:30 last night to get that,
Correct.
the sheets to us, right?
Right.
Will
Right.
this software sort of make the annual auditing process easier in terms of pulling all the information together?
Everything, yeah. We could go to, with this new software, and actually, it's not this, I've gotten boilerplate quotes from 3 different companies One was 59, one was 56. The one that we liked the best, we've seen demos too, it was 55. So 60 is going to cover all the bases. Where was I going with that? John, what was your question?
I was just saying, does this make the annual audit process
Yes.
easier for all the
Yeah.
information together?
One of the capacities that it has is it retains more information than you always need. So you can always drill down to get detail from one starting point. What happens now is we go here, we go there, we go here to get information. We'll have one starting place and we'll drill down in the computer, which means at some point, quickly, we can become a paperless office. We don't have to, but we have the capability. Right now, we can't run reports once we've closed out a period. We can't go back and retrieve information like we will with any new software.
As soon as you said COBOL, we used to deal with COBOL 30 years ago.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, any other questions on the finance department?
Susan?
I just have a
Mayor.
statement. When we speak to the term obsolete, this software is no longer even being supported. So if there's any issues,
Right.
we're dead in the water.
And if I could add, the new software will not become obsolete because it's Windows-based. So as long as Windows is around, the software will be updated and will be maintained and will be operable through
Anybody wanna-
Windows.
Anybody want to take a bet whether or not we'll see Windows in 20 years?
And maybe
I will be,
I'm not betting you, I'll be
All right,
here.
any other questions, any other questions on the finance department?
One
Laura, you
other
had
thing.
something you wanted to say?
Well, one other thing about the
Or
software.
the other side of the circle.
It's so frightening.
We currently have many different kinds of software. Lisa uses one version of what we have in finance for payroll, and the same thing happens in permitting. This new software, even though the 60,000 is the only place the purchase of it appears in this budget, part of that purchase is for administration to do payroll, and part of that purchase is to do permitting, so that all three systems will reside in one now with the new software, so that then they can talk to each other. The payroll stuff, whenever we need to present something in the financial software for payroll, it has to be done piecemeal. The same with permitting. Cindy takes the money that she takes in daily, enters it in her system, and then she takes it to Joanne to enter in cash collections.
Yeah,
And all that goes away. It's
that's
all
nuts. Yeah.
one point.
Can I say something?
Mhm.
To both of you, and I'm going to include you too, you've done an excellent job making your cases. Just
Yes, thank you.
But you don't get it.
All right, any other,
Missed it by that
Well,
much.
any
I
other,
don't.
any other questions on administration? All right, that concludes, thank you, Bonnie. That concludes what we have for today, correct?
Yep.
Anything
Y'all
else?
just-
Can we do something else? Can we add anything else?
Absolutely.
Do you want to have a starter prelim?
I prefer not to be. I mean, this gives me the opportunity to get home, get dressed and all
Well, I
that.
just wonder if there's something that we can do in 30 minutes that would be conclusive.
Well, what we've got left is Public Works, the Powell bill, and that's it.
On Saturday. Well, and there'll be the other funds
Capital.
also.
Yeah,
I mean,
they-
Powell bill, accommodations tax, and beach erosion are the largest ones. The park fund is just a continuation of what you've already approved, so there's nothing really new for the park. And the biggest decision is going to be how much to move into future development, the bike walkway, those kinds of things.
We have some major.
I will attempt to have those ready by Saturday. Everything else on the list is already ready. We just don't have,
So we may very well be able to accomplish more than just Public Works and Powellville on Saturday.
we may.
Everybody hear that? We might be able to accomplish obviously more than just Public Works and Powellville on
Well,
Saturday.
If,
We're already
if
giving
it's
up
like
the day.
last year's,
Let's
if
keep on
it's
going.
like previous years, we've been able to finish in 2 days. We've never needed the third day.
Well, and my point exactly, Carol. My point exactly, to something that you had said, we need to be prepared to maybe start having some serious discussions about some of these items that we've queried about. so far.
I just want to point out, on Saturday, you will not have police and fire here. So it's still going to limit your ability and planning or inspections.
Can I make a suggestion?
Please.
Well, because they're on the beach patrol.
Kevin can't, Kevin's not
He has
here
a
on
commitment.
Saturday. He's a
Right. He has a
commitment, and
wedding.
Richard may be on the beach.
Yes.
I still have, because all this was gonna happen next week, and it's all suddenly, here we are. I still have some work to do in order to do the justifications. Actually, I had the department heads prepare a mission statement with a narrative, and I need to go in and make them look uniform. That's all done, so that, so that you
Can-
would have the narrative
Can we,
in addition to the
can we-
numbers. So what
can
I
we-
was going to suggest was that we, Saturday, get done with Public Works and the Powell bill and the bare bones of the other funds. And I can have a summary that shows there's a lot of work that I need to do to get ready for Saturday.
Susan?
Susan?
I feel like the
Oh, you look
stepchild
like
on
me.
this side, yeah. Or we can give her the time she needs to prepare for that meeting and not meet on Saturday.
That's what I was gonna suggest, that we do it the 4th.
Awesome. Sounds good to me. Awesome. That'd be great.
Yeah, because she's
Because
gonna
you
have
can
to.
be here the 4th,
No,
correct?
no, it meets with my schedule. I never like taking away a good day that we can get some stuff done and pushing it all back onto the 4th. It's, who knows what
If-
is gonna happen.
If we just stick to Public Works and Powell bill on Saturday, we can be done Saturday morning. We can get it done in 2 hours.
Or we could do a
probably.
powerhouse on Thursday, start at 9 and go through it. You'll have all the department heads here. You'll have time to prepare what you need to prepare.
Get the basics finished.
I'd
Yeah,
rather
you
not
need-
run out of
Interview.
time if we have the time. And I, man, do I have some stuff I need to be doing on Saturday? Yeah, but it's, I hate to give up.
But again, remember,
He makes it very good.
but also remember, this isn't due. You have the full month of June if you want to meet again, and you're not going to be gone the month of June.
Well, hang on, we don't really, because we've scheduled this for, oh, yes, we do, because we're meeting at the end of June, is our council meeting, so
Well,
that we can pass the budget, that's the whole.
I thought that was on June 5.
No,
Well-
June 5, we have a public hearing.
It's a
Oh, it's a public hearing, okay, you're right,
Mhm.
right, it's a public
We
hearing.
don't have to pass the budget until June 26th, or whatever it is that
Right.
we have.
So we had the month of May to work out all the details to get ready for the
Yeah.
public
It's
hearing.
just that
I
he
don't
won't
mind
be
meeting
here.
Saturday morning to
Okay.
go over those few departments, but that's,
Yeah.
I really
It's just
leave that up
one.
to- It's everybody else's schedule.
Well, is Saturday bad for anybody else? Would we at
No.
9 o'clock?
We'd be done by 11.
Probably.
Yeah, if we just stick to, with the purpose being, you need to interview Dustin in the way that you've interviewed the other department heads. It's all his show on Saturday, and I'll prepare as much as I can, but I'll have everything else ready definitely by the 4th.
So I just want to point out, it's the first inaugural setup of the Strawberry and Wine Festival. I've already informed staff that may have to go in and out, because Dustin is here. I need to, if there's barricades, toilet paper, whatever, they're setting up the tents, I have to make sure that we're.
Well, they're setting up on Saturday,
We actually start setting up on Friday
Okay.
and Saturday.
but Sunday is the event.
And Sunday is, half a day for me anyhow, so.
We're still
Pardon me?
meeting on Saturday. We're still meeting
I
Saturday.
don't know, I'm waiting.
It's up to staff. Susan,
Meeting on Saturday
Yes, we're meeting
at 9
Saturday.
o'clock.
Yes.
Saturday, 9 to 11, is that what we decided?
Yes. Well,
We set up the barricades, we make sure they place the tents in the right way, we make sure they have the locates in place, we make sure that the restrooms are separated from the food. There's a lot of things that we. Oh, absolutely.
okay, we're now adjourned until Saturday, 9 o'clock.
Okay,
is that all right, Susan?
that's fine, I'll be here, in and out,
Okay.
as needed.
Great. Thanks, Barry.
Bonnie, thanks for the heart attack you sent